Hello guys, welcome to an next video new video. And in this video I'm going to give an update on the price of Bitcoin. And as you guys can see, I would like to start this video today starting from a good news first. And as you guys can see, we finally starting from the DXY, in this case we finally turned red on the DXY based on the super gap indicator. The super gap indicator turned from silver to red finally, and these we're gonna have to assess what might happen to the price after this indicator switch from silver to red. So this is a good news. This is what we've been waiting for a long time. This is what we've been basic preaching for a long time, is when the DXY turned from silver to red. It means we are nearing Bitcoin market acceleration, and most likely also nearing the top of the bull market. So in past occasions, as you can see, Bitcoin just, it's just the beginning. The DXY just turned red now, and you can see previous time when Bitcoin, the DXY switch from silver to red, if we go to the exact week, it was exactly in this week where we switching from silver to red, we subsequently had a correction. So if we look for where we had the switch, Bitcoin had basically a 14%, 20%, around 20% correction before, in this case, was to test the top of this downward trend line. We broke out, retested, switched from silver to red, and then we started the bull market acceleration, where we saw Bitcoin basically breaking the middle of this upward channel and push all the way to the top of it. So if you go further back and analyze when the switch happened in 2017, we can see that in this case, the week that Bitcoin switched, the DXY switch from silver to red was after we had a correction. In this case, this candle, if we say we could measure this candle and say again a 20% correction, a 30% correction. So we had 30% correction, and basically the next week we can say we switch after the 30% correction, we switch from silver to red, and we saw Bitcoin accelerating, breaking the middle of this upward channel and accelerate all the way to the top. So in our case, talking about today, we can see we are not coming exactly from a correction. As you guys can see, we can say that Bitcoin was actually made a new all-time high in terms of weekly candle close, as you can see. This weekly candle close is the highest close that Bitcoin has done so far. So I can say in terms of candle close, this is the new all-time high for Bitcoin. So it's completely the opposite compared to the two bear market we just two bull markets that we just compared. So we can see that this weekly candle close, Bitcoin closed this candle at around $106,473. So 106,473 is the new all-time high in terms of body close. Of course, the high was around and the high was around 106, 670, 692. So yeah, we had this close and we were still silver, and we just switch. Yeah, you can see that we switch from silver to red, and this candle is actually starting to correct. So I think we basically made a new all-time high in body candle with the highest candle close. But this week it's already, after switching from silver to red this week, we can see that this candle is beginning to correct. So we don't know where this correction is gonna end, or how the structure of this candle is gonna be. We noticed that this close was good, but actually it would be better if we had closed at least close to 110,000, and most likely the middle of our upward channel. So this didn't happen. It's not a bad thing, but it would be better to see this candle pushing all the way and breaking the 110,000. And I will show you the sentiment behind this candle, and you will have a better understanding of why we were not able to surpass or to retest 110,000 at this time. So this is great news. This week we're gonna have a little bit of correction. Of course, we cannot have this candle breaking below or breaking inside this channel again. I keep saying that we could have a retest of the top of this downward channel. Every retest of this downward channel would be a 12% correction. A 12% correction, which is acceptable. It will just protect the top of this downward channel and probably retest it with a violent move and then go upward again. So you can see the DXY was, like I mentioned last week, this looked to me like a rising wedge, and we can see where this wedge basically got rejected was exactly after retesting this 200-week average. You can see that the DXY got rejected, and this is why it switched from silver to red. So it's a sign of weakness for the DXY. It means the DXY is still weak, but at the same time we can say that every time the DXY reach those levels and become red, is a sign that DXY is about to bottom. Yeah, the DXY can go further down, but it's a sign that the DXY is about to bottom and the Bitcoin is about to top, and this is when the acceleration on the Bitcoin happen, and we're gonna have to keep an eye on this. So we can see every time the DXY actually switched from silver to red. Of course, it went down a little bit more, but at the same time, you have to keep an eye on Bitcoin because you're going to be very close to the top of the bull market. The DXY and Bitcoin ratio, we can see for that reason that the ratio, with body close, new all-time body close, weekly body close, we can see that the ratio is still making new highs, like we discussed last week. Basically, we have a new all-time high in Bitcoin weekly body close, and we can see that the RSI is clearly below the downward trend line, although we need confirmation. Confirmation meaning we need to surpass the current. We have to finish this correction as soon as possible. This week needs to becomes green as soon as possible, and most likely the best scenario is to retest our 110 in the middle of this channel as soon as possible, so that we can have this RSI continue to push it downward toward our 1862 level. So this is good news. This good news is a very important um, time for Bitcoin. Is a time for us to keep an eye on the next few days and week. We can see that this week is trying to make a decision. Fear and greed index. We can see why I told you that we would have to analyze the sentiment and understand why we, we were not able to push above the 106,000 and retest our 110,000 directly. Is because the structure, you can see that we found a resistance on the 74. We're still at grid, the 2 days in a row, as you can see, but we made progress from 70 to 74. But what we said last week is that everything above 74 would put Bitcoin on the extreme grid, which is the right sentiment to keep fueling the market to the upside. So we can see that we are actually consolidating on 74, and breaking 74 to the upside is when we can see the market moving in a faster pace and most likely retesting or pushing toward our 110,000. So we can see that the sentiment was around the same level, 74, before we had the explosive move to the upside. For instance, before breaking this channel to the upside, we were actually um, finding resistance as at under 74, and before we broke it to the upside, is after breaking to the upside, descending to the upside to the extreme grid, is when Bitcoin was able to break the top of this channel toward our 110,000. So the same thing seems to be happening at the moment. We broke out of this channel, but still we need more, in this case, more greed to come into the market to fuel this Bitcoin to push toward 110,000. So in terms of sentiment, I think it's fine because at least we respected 74. This is a level where that we know that breaking this level to the upside will help the market keep pushing upward, and this is what we can see that it's about to happen. And what we need to know is if you're going to be able to break the 74 and tap into the extreme grid to allow the market to continue to push higher. That's the update for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we should be happy that the DXY finally turned from silver to red. we could have a little correction. I don't know how much, but we are very close to the market acceleration, Bitcoin acceleration mode. We are very close. And why is because we have this, although it's early, but we have this sign saying that we should keep an eye for this week and see what's going to happen. If we dip a little bit to retest the top of this channel, in my opinion, it would be an opportunity to accumulate and wait for this red on the DXY to show us what's going to happen to the price actually. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next Monday.